Okay, guys, this is Elliot Wave Sage. This live stream is not financial advice. Always do what's best for you. Just use this for your education and entertainment purposes only. While people join, I'll just recap the market. Last week's video, I gave the buy area on the Dow. We had a really nice bounce. And then, of course, we had the second wave. And then we had some really nice earnings out of Google and Microsoft. Gave the market an excuse to really start to head into this wave 3. We could still see some more pullback. We're set up going into the Fed very bearish in sentiment. We're like, my God, they're not going to raise, and it's the end of the world, you know. I mean, they're not going to lower, and now maybe they'll raise. It's like if they say anything bullish, it's going to be it's going to be a good way to juice the market. You know, if they do come out talking about raising rates and stuff, that there is a chance you could get more panic, and then we could get this double correction, which again in the SPY and the triple Qs, you know, we're not out of the woods yet. The way I'm labeling this is essentially a 3 waves crash correction, which you see in the market quite often. And the connector wave was really shallow. It was like right here. So not a flat. So when you see something like this, it would not be surprising to get a bigger bounce, and then it fails and backtest at 480. So just so I do consider that, but I don't, you know, I would say I'd rather stay bullish than try to short and try to play this like B wave that I know people on the internet are trying to do or already did, like you would short 511 and 514. I wouldn't recommend doing that given the count and the bigger picture of where we are. Keep your eye on the prize. Remember, we have this cup handle. We broke out, and we're essentially trying to maybe we're back testing 480, or we've already done the back test. But this has more upside to finish this out. So it's really not advised to try to get cute here and try to play for a final flush lower. It'd be better to just buy this if the market gives you this, and then we have a nice buy in the indices. Where really here we had no good setup. The setup was in the Dow Jones, which could have been bought, and if you're still long, you would just hold that. So we'll be interested to see how this plays out next week. Will we double correct, or will we come up in a 3 and potentially a 3 of 3? So don't know why. Again, it obviously will have to be related to whatever the Federal Reserve says and does. There's even rumors going around they're going to you know, really pull back on quantitative tightening, and they may on the balance sheet signal some really bullish, dovish things while they're tough on rates. So keep an eye on that as well. Perhaps they restart some kind of QE to reduce the rates on the long end, you know, Operation Twist. We've heard that before, or something to keep these rates down here, but then not, you know, not so indirectly kind of monetizing this and then washing that out by being tight on the short end. So we got to wait and see. It's going to be a very interesting time in the market, but that's where the indices are, and that's where things set ourselves up for. And then triple Qs is no different. Here's your connector, and again, wouldn't be surprised to see a bounce and it come back down later, but it doesn't have to. Obviously, this cycle is over. So we're in a new bullish cycle. We're in a new bullish cycle until otherwise proven otherwise. You can see the daily RSI reset, a massive reset here on the daily stochastic, and we're really just starting to break out. So there's a lot more room to run from a technical standpoint. I think people are caught up on this. It's a weekly correction, that's going to take it down, but that's not, I don't think that's going to happen, guys. I don't think, as you could see, this weekly can continue on, and I believe we'll see that for a while we have quite a few more daily cycles to play out on the upside. That's why I was not recommending shorting or selling positions into this, but only buying items that came up, and we did get great buys in SOXL, which I gave on my last video, Nvidia, and so on. That was the setup. That's what we wanted to buy here, not the indices. I don't care about the indices. I know some people are like, all I trade is SPY and all that, but you got to move around to different things. And this was an example of that. So let's go into your super chats, guys, and I'll get to all of them, of course. Hey, cool. I'm glad you made some money, man, on HCI. I was in there with you, just playing it a different way. I'm long Baba and Baidu, and those have been great gainers for me. And honestly, if you're long the Hang Seng, you have this trading pivot right here at 1604, which we called that low on my channel here. You should just hold it essentially forever. I mean, depending on, again, if you have time to, if you're in calls and puts, that's different. But if you have a equity position, there's really no reason to sell it until the market comes back and breaks this pivot. And the further it gets away, the further that won't happen. We have a massive downtrend line that has been broken that goes all the way back, I think, to February 21. So this isn't just going to be like a little, this should continue. This has continuation for a while. And of course, there's ups and downs, right? There's ups and downs. This is the first area of resistance where this impulse should end. This impulse should end, and we get a bigger pullback that should be supported for another swing higher. And then at that point, we can reassess the entire market to see what's going on in China. But yeah, I mean, this was a great setup, so I'm glad you made that. I am looking at that for you now. You could see it's still in wave 3 of this push higher on the shorter time frame. As you could see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves with very little divergence, but the 45-minute cycle is ending. We have not reached the wave 3 peak yet, so this would just be another 1-2 setup. But we should see a pullback soon, and we may see a pullback to 1720, which is the wave 4 low, before we see more highs out of the Hang Seng in China. It is set up to do this. However, I would never short or leave a position here, because this could also be a 1-2, 1-2, and we get separation and run next week. And the dollar is also set up for something like that, potentially, with the dollar index struggling here, but it wants to make one more push to 106. But if it can't do that and it unravels, that will help the emerging market China trade. Weak dollar is kind of helps that trade out, and that's just something I've noticed over the years. So we'll keep an eye on this, but it does seem like a pullback is coming. This looks like this needs to correct, right? This needs to correct. I don't know what this line is here. I don't know what. Let me go back and see if that's some trend line, because that could be trend line resistance. Yeah, it's trend line resist. So yeah, so this is a good area for rejection here, and then we'll see when this wave 2 ends. If you look at this wave 2, it took March 12th to the 24th. It almost took over a month. So this could take multiple weeks to finish this multiple weeks. But do what's best for you. I'm staying long China until the market stops me out on those equity positions I have. Bitcoin, Bitcoin is starting to get a little weak. I have another buy at 61,867. If we get there, I'm looking at a couple things. You could label this as a flat, but if you really look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's really 3 down here with a connector, and then you have 3 down, a connector. So it could take another 3 legs down into this area here. The other alternative, it's a flat, and you put the 1 here. This is essentially an impulse, and it did some kind of A, B, C, and then if that's the case, it's already finished and it's ready to reverse. So it's tough to say, I'm sorry, not ready to revert. One more drop down here. one more drop. And the reason, and I get that buy area here like this. So I I think with Bitcoin, it's really you really want to see this hold at 59,007, right? Because if that breaks, then we really just have a connector, and it's going to take another leg lower, uh, and then it sets you up for another leg lower. Still bullish overall, but it sets you up for 54,000, 50,000. So we'll see if this can find support in the next few sessions here, and this is the bullish case. If we take another dip down, just 4 extends down, and that's how it goes. I mean, that's it. And then you can either stop out here and buy more later. For me, I won't want to leave my positions. Because again, I'm keeping an eye on the bigger picture. I'll just look to add more later and just add more. And if the market wants to keep dropping, so be it. And then that's how I would look at trading it. But that's how Bitcoin looks to me. And then the GDXU is tied obviously to GDX and gold. But the miners do trade a little different than gold. Gold has been trading, so let's take a look at that here. So we'll go to that ETF real quick here, gold, the gold miners, and look at all of them here. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, commodities. In the commodity area, let's take a look here. Copper, uranium, lithium. Where do I have my gold? There is gold. Okay, so GDXU. So we have this lower low. You see that lower low? More than likely this rally will fail. So it looks like we just came up a little bit more. So that changes the target to 28.35. So I do think this will stay supported. But this seems like it wants to break down. It would be, if we finish 2 here, it would be a surprise with this truncation. So we can look at the RSI here. That's a pretty good reset with no divergence. Even on the daily, look at the daily stochastic opening up. Okay, now it's clearly that cycle's over. So we have a 3-wave cycle with a massive truncation here, with a really basically vertical reaction. So I'm showing this bullish setup, but the market sometimes violates, some of these ideas. And I would not be surprised if the 2's already in. The 2's already in. And then we just pull back and we run in this. And if we look here, you really have another 3-wave move here. See, there's your third. So if we could take this high out, that would probably tell me the low is in, because then you have an impulse off this low. You have an impulse off this low, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4. Get that 5th wave with some divergence here. Then you could get a bigger pullback, right? A bigger pullback. And then it's out. And then you have your inverse head and shoulders, and then you're out. And then you never make it. So this was really, really, just it's not an easy structure to trade, but it's clearly this cycle is over. This downtrend is over. You're in a new cycle up. You're in a new connector wave or wave 3. This move down isn't certain to happen, but if it were to come down here, great opportunity to buy. There really was no buy set up on this pullback here. That's why you really needed to be buying in this area where I had the buy areas earlier, because if you had bought down here, then you're not going to really get caught up in this. You have a lot of capital left. Your position. Yeah, you lost some money here, but you're not going to really get shaken out. So if you're trying to get in on this trade, you're trading against 32. But if the market does want to drop to 28, so be it. I did hear Newmont is breaking out. I don't have that individual miner charted. My chart's not updated on it, but I heard it's breaking out. You see how it broke out? That may tell you the GDX is breaking out as well. And they're all going to eventually follow suit. Let's take a look here. See, there's your impulse, right? One, two, let's make sure. Um, let's go back to the daily. So here we have one cycle. You see there is some divergence in the daily on Newmont, right? There's your peak RSI on that wick, and we overtook it there. So there's your 5, there's your 2, and you're in wave 3. So Newmont is suggesting GDX is already bottomed. I mean, the Newmont is telling you we're already in wave 3, and that is telling me that it probably is better to label the 2 here and just keep this box for just like, just as a reminder in case there's a market accident that happens next week and everything just kind of drops. But wouldn't be surprised to see that this is the count here now, and we just truncate it. We truncated this too. All right, thanks again, Crypto Mickey. Let's just go to the next super chat. Again, I'll get to all the super chats, man. And Ruda and Ashk, thank you. I'll go into those for you for the 50 man. XLV and Tesla. Let's take a look at XLV. Healthcare was kind of weak, right? It wasn't like doing a lot. I think Humana got sucked up in sector weakness. You see how XLV pulled back. That's kind of what happened to Humana, which is still in a buy area, but I think it was fighting against sector weakness. You got the sector weakness, which is typically like healthcare tends to be a sector that is like risk off type move, like protective. You see this double top here. There's a lot of ways I can label this. I don't have all the pricing data, so it's hard to say is the peak here, is the peak here. You could see there's only 3 waves down, so we're going to call this a flat correction, okay? And then you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this low is very important to hold at 138. So as you could see, I mean, look, left shoulder, head, or right shoulder. If we break 138, there's going to be a big breakdown in the healthcare sector, guys. I mean, it's just the way it's going to go. And then this flat is going to play out as a 1, 2, and it's just going to play out deeper, right? It's just going to play deeper out, down. And we don't, unfortunately, we don't know the future. So right now, to me, the XLV is bullish against 138, this neckline, in a flat correction here, in a flat correction. But we need to see some continuation. We need to see some continuation. Now, if you look here, you got 5 waves up, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 3 down. So that's promising, right? That tells me, okay, well, that's good. That's a sign that we're bottoming out. So we could see healthcare run next week. The sector strength, that pivot's holding. So I think this is another key pivot to hold at 139, but 138. So I would take the more bullish interpretation on the healthcare sector that the low is in with the daily cycle low. But you need to be really cautious here that we're not in a bigger pullback off of this 1-2 in a 1-2 setup off the all-time low here. And I'll label the rest of this later. But basically, you've got a setup here where we had 5 waves up here, and we've already pulled back in a shallow pullback. So that's how I look at the healthcare sector, and it's already starting to run again. And we're in some kind of other 1-2. Right, another 1-2. Something like that. Okay, so you have to do what's best for you, but bigger picture, right? If we look at the bigger picture, this was a pretty shallow pullback in wave 2. We could see a bigger flat. Like I showed you the flat. What if this is the flat of all, what if this is like the sector's just going to get annihilated and we get a massive flat all the way down to 112, 108 to really finish wave 2 properly. So that's why I would stop. If I was trying long healthcare, I wouldn't want to be in it below 130, 38, 137, that's it. Because if this turns into a bigger flat and goes into a 1-2 and it really drops and gets down to these areas, then this sector's toast for a while. But it could create a massive opportunity later. We'll see how this plays out. This is the bullish interpretation, but because it's only 3 waves, if we do break down, we could see just kind of a straight down drop in a flat in an A, B, C down to 112, 112, 100. So I won't be looking to buy this area here. So long healthcare is good above 137. Then when we break down, if we do, I probably wouldn't touch healthcare unless it came down into this area for some reason. If it's traded in here, I'll just ignore it. I'll just ignore it. Okay, and then your Tesla obviously was a beautiful pump right off our trend line, guys. I mean, if you've been following me, we've had our eye on this trend line for months, guys, months. And we're like, okay, we broke some pivots. So we were smart enough to get out when we broke this pivot here. It's fallen. It broke this pivot. So like this is the next area. And we got that basically a vertical. So this is now a good pivot. But now we need to see if the RSI cycle is broken on the daily and take a look at this cycle. Because once the cycle breaks, then you can kind of say the low is in. So on the daily and weekly. As you can see, the daily cycle has broke on the entire leg. So that gives you confidence the low is in. But more importantly, the weekly cycle is the most important. As you can see, we have no divergence at the low, which is what we want to see here. Let me just get rid of this so we can see that a little better. So as you can see here, we want to see no divergence, and you got that. And then here you go. So we need that weekly cycle to break this line. If it does, then I think you have complete confidence the low is in, but more than likely with the daily cycle break, you're going to get another swing higher, which should break the weekly cycle. And my guess is you're going to form some kind of inverse head and shoulders out of this thing right around here. Maybe, maybe a little bit lower. We'll see where this, line is, neckline or the line is somewhere around here. But we should be seeing 189, 195 before we get really good resistance again. The short time frame, looking at the bigger picture, here it looks like you've got some kind of impulse finishing up. The gap is your 3 of 3, right? So you have this like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're pulling back. So we may see, you could even see a gap fill, guys. You could see, but now I think this is going to give you an opportunity to get long Tesla if you missed the move. But the two is going to drop. Sometimes it go, the normal areas, the 4-wave cluster, 158 would be the normal area. If we're lucky, you get a gap fill and you can get long against 138 again. But we'll have to wait and see. But it looks like this is finished here, and we need that 45-minute cycle to kind of reset. So I'm looking for like a little more downside in too. That's how I'm looking at it, guys. Thanks again for the super chat, man. Going to Douglas, Lab Up and PRCT, and again I'll get to everyone's super chat. Lab Up and PRCT. Lab Up and PRCT. We haven't looked at Lab Up in a long time. So that's influenced, I think, by the Russell a little bit. We had this final push lower in wave 2 and a flat. It just extended down, but it stayed. This was the line in the sand. So we are looking for a turn out of this soon when this impulse finishes. So we need this impulse to finish. We have no sign it's finished yet. Here's your 3-wave bottom. Now you have some divergence here, okay? That could be the 5th wave, but my guess is this is probably just wave 2 of 5 with more downside to come. Because it just seems like this 5th leg isn't big enough. compared to the first leg down. So I think you got more downside coming. If you try to like pinpoint an entry, it would be 77.72 in this area. What you want to see is divergence held. This divergence needs to hold. And if you lose it, then it's extended and it's going to go even lower. And that's the problem with these impulses. It's tricky. You even want to see some daily divergence. That would be even better. If you're trading, we want to trade in this area ideally with daily divergence, bullish divergence. You see that, then I think you're really close to the reversal out of this mess. Let's take another look at the Fibonacci support. So Fibonacci support is in this area. So you're already in an area where people would start to buy, even like myself. Like they're going to start buying here. Shorts are covering right now. Shorts are covering. People are nibbling. But if you can get to this area, this is where you can maybe be more bold with bigger positions as long as you keep that bullish divergence intact. And then you're trading against this low at 48, and because of the higher high sequence and the flat nature, we should at least get a third wave out of this at some point. Let's look at PRCT for you. Okay, Bio-robotics, interesting company. Always learn different companies. So not a lot of chart history, which always makes my analysis a lot harder to do. So not impossible though. We'll have to look at the daily time frame. Yeah, you probably got a crash low here. So we're gonna say bullish off of this low. Bullish off of this low. Right? And then here you have 5 swings down in some kind of another flat kind of correction. Let's take a look. Yeah, another swing down in a flat kind of correction. So I'm just going to go with the more bullish interpretation because we don't have enough chart data. It's it's not going to be as clear as it could be. This looks like your first impulse here. 1, 2. That would be too short for 3. Well, actually, that's how I'd label it, like something like this, and then down, and then out, and then there's your 1, 2 right there. Out. So against this low of 45.23, we could be entering into a wave 3 of 3, which is likely given that we keep making higher highs. I think the shorts are losing control of this stock. That's what I'm seeing in the price action. Looking at it, from again, playing poker, not chess, it looks like shorts are desperate to push the price down, but they're losing control. And I think when they do, you'll get a separation and a run, a pretty nice one. Yeah, maybe something like that. And then this looks like another 5 up. Yeah, it's really all these overlapping waves, but they're all 5-wave sequences. So we could see a small drop back down to 47 here. But this could be a great long opportunity against 45 to try to play that wave 3. If this 45 breaks, it'll become another flat and it could go much lower. But more than likely, this low will be supported at 24. This is how I would look at this chart right now. You'll have to do what's best for you. I wouldn't be surprised to see prices extend when this thing finally breaks out to $90, $100 when it finally breaks out. And that's how I look at it. Thanks for the money, Doug. I appreciate that. All right, let me go back to my super chats. We'll go to Donald for 10. Tesla, I gave that update earlier. I assume you heard that. Let's go to CVX, Chevron. You heard earnings wasn't too good for these oil producers. There was like mixed earnings. What's interesting is we truncated here in the short area, got rejected, and it came back up. Now it finally is in the box, and it got rejected again. It'll be so it's another fight happening, in the energy market. So I would still think of it as a short play until we break this pivot here at 172. So I still think it's just the market hasn't is fighting, but I think it will lose. The bulls will lose this fight soon on the oil market. Again, to predict Chevron, we really need to look at other things too going on, like oil. So oil made a counter trend rally. We had shorts here, 5 down. We could still see oil rise a little bit more, but it should be breaking down. I would expect it to break down. We're seeing 10-year in another sell area, even though it did come up into this area. It's still in a sell area, and that's why I'm still with the TMF trade. I wouldn't get too concerned until the 10-year breaks this 502 or the 20-year exact, which is really what TMF trades against. But the reason this has to do with oil, this is the inflation trade. So this is the inflation trade, guys. So Chevron, I think, is like that. Now, the one thing I'll say about the producers is when push comes to shove, usually the economy rules the day and the producers. So I do think whether the price of oil goes up or not, if the economy is sucking wind and we go into a recession, these guys are going to get sold off, even if the underlying commodity runs higher. So we'll just keep an eye on that. But this is what I'm looking at right now, and you'll have to do what's best for you on that. And then SOXL, I'm in that trade. Gave that setup. Best trade so far. So this is what I'm looking at now. We had a nice 3-wave move, classic Elliott wave correction, hit the buy area exactly. Gave that alert. Essentially been vertical ever since. We are in some kind of wave 3. I mean, I don't see a wave 4 yet. Now there is always a chance that we get a connector, which would be really catastrophic, right, for the semiconductor industry. If this was a connector, this would take SOXL down to 13. Do you really think Nvidia's going below $200, guys, and AMD is going to go back down to $70, $60? Like, this is to get down here. That's what's happening. Super micro back to 100. It's not going to happen. More than likely, this is a low. It's going to extend. I'm just saying, I just don't see this low breaking. So I call that backing into a low using logic like that, like I just shared with you. So that's why I still think it's just going to go higher. So I'm going to just hold my position for a while. I may hold it for a long time now, but this is my pivot at 30 bucks, and we'll just see what happens. For now, bigger picture, we have an impulse off the low that got corrected here, and if we do enter a wave 3, we should break the all-time high, and we should bring us even higher. That's why I wouldn't be too bearish on these semiconductor stocks. Looking at this chart, So we'll see how this plays out, but I think we'll have more upside. I think if it were to break down here, it just seems it seems like that would be too bearish for the underlying stocks within that ETF. All right, let's keep going. Bama, Alcoa. Yeah, let's take a look at that industrial play. The industrials got hit hard because the GDP number was low than what people thought. But again, this is steel, right? It trades with steel. So clearly we had the 1-2 here. You have 5 waves up here. You pulled back in 2. So this is your trade and pivot right there. So it doesn't take a lot of analysis to get to that conclusion. So now we're up. So either we're about to enter wave 3 in Alcoa, or we double correct for a buy. And see here, you only have 3 waves up, so you could easily double correct until you take that high out. We have to really take this high out at 37.39. If it can't do that, it is set up for a potential double correction at down to 33.32 for another long entry, which would be a really good buy setup. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out, but right now the two's done, and we'll just need to see. We need the price. The market doesn't know what to do. I call it, it's stuck because it hasn't made a decision. It's kind of like the pot has been building and building and building, and now somebody's got to call, right? Somebody's got to make their move. One side of the market's got to make a move. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Then Fubu, I looked at that briefly the other day. It looked like it held the bottom, and we're starting to reverse out into a new bullish cycle. I think GameStop started to do that as well, which is not surprising if the indices are bottom. Let's take a look. So yeah, I mean, I look at this wave 5. This 5 is in because you have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this wave 5 is in. So now you have to trade against 120. And honestly, if 120 breaks, I think this stock is toast because then you're gonna have another cycle down. But now we're finding some buyers, and so we should try to reverse out of this. You have a nice 3-wave move here, so this could be another 1, 2 right here, and we could be ready to set up. But this could also be a connector. So again, this one's kind of stuck as well, waiting for the market to make a decision. It could still drop in another 2, another wave 2, and that buy would be 130 against the low of 120, which would be a high reward, low risk entry. If this happened, this would be high reward, low risk to try to play a 3 out of this. And if this breaks down, so you lose 10 cents and you stop out and you just let the market drop, and you got to forget about this. PayPal was looking pretty good as well. Last I checked on PayPal. Let me find it here. There it is. So PayPal, we have been following this since the correction started a couple years ago. I started my channel, and we came out, and we knew. So if I remember, my last update on PayPal for you guys was like, hey, once we got this break over this high, we knew we were going to run higher, and I think did we break? We have not. Let me look a little closer. And again, I mean, TradingView doesn't have all the pricing data, but it does look like this high B was taken out. So I do think we have more upside. It does look like we're about to go into a wave 3 of 3 here and a 2-wave pullback on an impulse up here. Now, this 61, if it doesn't hold, it will just double correct too. And I would just be looking for a 1, 2, 1, 2. And of course, bigger picture, if this is a 3-wave move, which it is, right, because you only have 3 waves, and if this drops, right, that's why I would be really careful buying. If this drops and we actually crash and break 50, this is a connector for the entire cycle, guys. And if that's the case, PayPal is toast. PayPal is going back to this area where all this, that's where it's headed. It's going all the way back down. So it's still like, it's not all clear yet, guys, in PayPal. Not all clear yet. But is it a stock that hasn't run? Like, mega caps run. Many stocks ran all last year. But there's a lot of stocks that haven't, and this is one of them. Like the stocks in China have, so maybe this will, play catch up. Like, I don't know. As breadth improves. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out. But I think, I could put the 2 there. It's just we'll have to wait and see how this thing goes with PayPal. Pfizer, again, looking at my forecast for the healthcare sector, I mean, don't be surprised if we see a little more downside in Pfizer because it does represent the healthcare sector. And Pfizer, like I said, it's just stuck in this wedge. And this is the area that, strong hands, this is where, institutional billionaire, this is where people that will buy stock and not sell it for 100 years is going to buy this company, right, in this area, if they're not buying it already. So this is like super duper smart money buying it. I heard Pfizer just released some hemophilia treatment, got approved, gene therapy. That's big. If that could be a lot of money for that. So like they're gonna come out of this. Now I think the bearish case in Pfizer right now is the COVID vaccine and payback, right? Trump gets into office, the MAGA gets into office, and then there's payback. Pfizer's sued, the protections are lifted, and they caused all these injuries allegedly. Again, so and then they're bankrupt because they got to pay out and they're screwed. So investors in the back of their mind are worried about that. They're worried about that in the future there's going to be payback against these companies on the vaccines, on the perceived or actual injuries they cause people, depending on which side of the aisle you sit on. So you're caught up in that too. You're caught up in that. And they're losing business from COVID, right? No one's buying that shit anymore for COVID because so that's what's going on in this company, and it doesn't have weight loss drugs, right? Everybody wants weight loss drugs. So that's what you're buying. So yeah, there is probably a bearish case to be had around vaccine injury liability, but if you don't believe that that's going to happen, then I do think this is an absolute great buy, like here. But as long as you're stuck in this wedge, there's no reversal on this impulse yet. This is a fifth wave of a fifth wave happening here. Okay. Thanks for the super chat. Rates and metals. Yeah, I'll just show you interest rates real quick because everybody's interested in that here. So the 10-year, guys, is in a sell area. I do expect a reversal at any moment, out and down. I want to see ultimate lows at 3% or even lower for that cycle low, before we get the real fireworks and the debt crisis in the United States comes to life. That's what I'm hoping to see. But there isn't there we but as you know, if you follow Elliott Wave Sage, we don't worry. We don't just get fixated on one trade, one symbol, one idea. We always keep an open mind to both possibilities, and we're willing to have intellectual stop losses on my channel. I know there's a lot of guys you follow do not have intellectual stop loss. So if we break this high, guys, this ain't happening. And then that 2 is in, and then it's a 1-2, 1-2. And shit's going to get real. And it's going to get crazy. And obviously this is going to pressure the market, right? It's got to pressure the market. So the only way it won't pressure the market is if it's like hyperinflation, right? Long end rises, dollar collapses, everything's priced in dollars, and so that everything melts up in price, aka Venezuela, name your country, Turkey, whatever. So this is interesting. So the Fed could really jack this up soon. Like, and is it the Fed's fault? I mean, it's everyone's fault in the government printing money, but they're in a lot of like, I don't know if they realize the market's ready to break down here. So yeah, I mean, the long bond trade is cool right now, but we break this high, it's time to leave it. I wouldn't be long bonds, and then you got to really reassess stocks. And honestly, I bet if we break this, stocks are going to double correct, and then you got to keep an open mind about how far down they go. And then that's when you got to start leaving the market and taking your profits and going on the sidelines, because that's when the market behaves in a way you didn't expect. And that's where you protect your capital. You go on the sideline and you wait for shit to die, to kind of die down, to reassess where things are. But right now, this is a predictable path. Rates down, dollar weak, markets higher, markets top off, SPY 600, growth tops off, dollar bottoms, then we start to creep up, new president, and then debt crisis, and then we get the grand super cycle crash starts pulling back. wave 5 is over the ground super cycle, right? That's how I see this chart. However, like I said, if we break this high though, it's this game over, man, for the interest rates. I just can't see it technically. I can't find another technical way for this to break higher and come back. It just wouldn't make sense to me. Wouldn't make sense. So that's my rate forecast, guys. So keep an eye on rates. Keep an eye on it. And then on the metals is in the same. Metals are driven by the dollar index, right? But right now, gold hit a wave 4, okay? And then it's coming up. So we want to see this 5th wave. And then we should top in 3. So gold's forecast is sideways to higher for a little bit. Of course, it could always change and become a 1-2, 1-2, or I'm sorry, a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and then it's out. But more than likely, that's not the case. But this is what I'm looking at. And then silver, the same thing. Hit the buy area we had. I gave this guys a setup, 2670. We hit it, and we're coming out. Let's see if it holds or not. It's got to hold. If it doesn't break down, then it's going to go back to 24. And remember, bigger picture, I said with silver, we just have 3 waves up. So we start breaking down too far, then we could be turning into a much bigger flat and much more bearish scenario for the market. So again, we have to keep an eye on this, but we really want to see this hold at 26. I do see 5 swings off this low. That's a positive sign, the C5. So we'll have to wait and see if we get this push out next week. Okay, thanks again for the super chat, Bama. And again, I'm just kind of looking through this. iSeeker, I'll get to all the super chats. Cryptos, ING, Band, ACA. Band, have not seen that one in a while. Yeah, ING. Yeah, how's that one doing? Let's take a look. It was bullish, and then we had some more bearish forecast play out. Okay, so when the last time we updated it, we had it in a more bullish 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 setup. And then what happened is this turned into a connector, and then you would have stopped out right here, and then you would have been able to get out of your position here. That's how you would have traded it, okay? Right? So that's how you would have traded it. That's why nothing's up. You know, there's no reading. You can't read the future of the market. So you could have bought here. That was a super bullish setup. You lost that. You can get out. So now what did this become now? Well, now it became a flat correction. And that's why I gave this entry here for the flat, which it looks like it's held. So now that we had the flat correction and a much larger degree correction, now we're trading against 1770, 84, and we're off the low. So now we're trading a 5th wave move that looks like it still needs a bounce and a failure, but this looks like 5 down. So this looks like you'll get some kind of bounce and failure at some point. But you have to do what's best for you on that. That's a pretty big reset on the 4-hour though. So it actually is probably 3 waves. So it's probably a 2's done here. So with that 4-hour reset, and you don't have a 4-hour reset. Let's look at the daily. You don't have a daily. So you're still in the bearish cycle. So you're still in you don't have a wave 2 bottom. So you get a little more upside. But if you can reset that cycle here, that trend line, this trend line breaks on the 4-hour, then you know the low's in. Then you could trade against this too. Right now it's kind of speculation. But if we push lower, it'll be 5 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you'll get an A, B, C down. And then PHA, I'll assume that's some kind of crypto as well. Yep, here it is. So we had a 2-wave here, and then it essentially went parabolic. Look at that. So we had the 2-wave. Our buy was at 9.3 cents, and it bottomed at 9.5. So we're off by 0.2 of a cent. Close enough, right? Close enough. And then it's in a wave, like a massive wave 3. That looks like it's just finished that entire cycle in an extended 5th. Yeah, massive extended 5th. cryptos love extended fifth waves. That's why in crypto you got to ride all the way to the end of the cycle, or you miss like all the real money. That's why it makes it so hard to trade. And now it's pulling back, and there's your cycle low right around here. And see, I broke a cycle. So this is a connector. So this is a connector, okay? This is a connector. So the cycle's over here. And if you look at this, this is for this wave, this is a connector. So this was a short, well, actually, no, I'm take that back. That's the connector there. So this was another flat correction. Let's see where we bottomed. It does look like it went deep enough. It does look like it went deep enough. You see, look, 18.7, bam, 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 bam. So that's where it's buy. So this correction is probably over. Look at the support, the technical support you have on it right there, right where I would have expected it. This is where I would have bought if I was trading it. This is where I would be buying. And so now you just got to play it. Now, I wouldn't be surprised though to see a bounce and another low later, and we tag this wave 4 area. So I'll keep an open mind. I'll keep an open mind to that possibility. But right now, you could say the wave 2 is in. However, don't be surprised for a bigger bounce and a failure later. Crypto's tough to trade, but it seems to me that this is what you're trading against now, the 17 cents. And then I would, if it broke 17, I would leave it, because then it's going to just go deeper, and then we may come back down in a full round trip down. All right, band. We've done man before. I think we got rid of that chart because it hasn't come up in a long time. But we'll take a look at it. Maybe I still have it labeled. No, yeah, we don't have that labeled anymore. Okay. So obviously we have some bearishness, but now we have some kind of accumulation here, right? So this looks like 5 up, and then we came down in 3, right? We come down in 3. And then there's your 5th wave. So we're bullish against 87 cents. So 87 cents has to hold. Okay, 87 cents has to hold. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3. So I could just look at it and tell you we're close to the bottom of this. It's probably no one's radar. This is probably one that will pump because nobody's in it anymore, right? I don't even know what these guys do. So there's your support at 147. You found buyers, and now you're out. So I mean, to me, this is a good area to buy it right here. So as long as you're above 129, it's bullish. If not, it's a connector, and then we retest the low. So very important low here. Oh, look at that wick. We almost missed that wick. Look at that. Look at that vertical action. So assuming that's legitimate price data, and sometimes you don't know, that could be your 1, 2. So yeah, I mean, so your pivot may actually be at 136, because you could have another 1, 2, assuming you want to believe that wick is true. I mean, is it interesting reaction? Because essentially people were so bullish to get long. And it makes sense because risk reward, if you're trading the alt season, you have a low at 83 cents. You buy it at 131. So what? Okay, so you're going to lose 25 cents for what? A 10, 100 bagger? God knows. I mean, so no wonder people bought it. I mean, it was pretty much market buy that. So I think I think you got to, I think when I look at that, this has just got like a low risk, high reward setup. And again, I don't even know what this coin does. I don't even know. But do what's best for you. ACA. ACA. Do we have ACA here? Binance ACA. So let's take a look at your three-wave correction. So it is in a buy area right now. Okay. So this one hasn't reacted, so it's still a buy in this area against 88 cents. And off this low, I mean, it's a classic impulse. Again, you don't. This is like, you don't even need a lot of Elliott wave knowledge to be able to label this. Okay. So, like right now on my channel, go buy this, put your stop at 8-9 cents, and you may, what, 4 or 5 times your money later. I mean, that's what this chart is telling me right now. Now, if we break 8-8, this pivot here, and you see that's why it's a pivot. You see how we reset that RSI cycle. You could just tell. Then I would obviously leave the trade. So that's your risk reward. Do what's best for you. Looks pretty bullish coming out of the bottom here. Again, no idea what it does, but go for it. Yeah, ACA. All right, next up, Anonymous. Cool, Anonymous. Let's go to Anonymous here. Some more crypto. More crypto. All right, MIGI, how's that doing? So I think we had the 2 here because we're trading against this low. We got the forced reaction out. So significant pivot. I call it, again, you got to back into the low here. It looks like you have another 1, 2, but you see that lower low. I don't like that. So that means it's probably going to make another drop lower. I hate that move. So it's in a very tough position to forecast because it could be a couple things. It could be something like this. Like that. Okay. It does something like that. That's probably the most predicted. That's how I would forecast it right now. It just is too bullish to put the bottom in there because of so I think it's something like that. But hey, that's good. That means you could get a C leg pump, right? Which is nice, right? Especially if we think Bitcoin's going to rally soon, right? Dollar's going to fall, so we'll keep an eye on that. But against 85 cents is really the low here you're trading against. And then BTCM, I don't remember ever doing that one. Yeah, that must be a new one for us in our channel. Let's take a look here. BTCM. We'll add that. We'll take a look at that. It's never, again, some of these miners may not even been in the Bitcoin business early in their trading history. So we trade against this low. Now, if you look, you only have 3 swings up here. So this looks like a connector wave. It looks like more continuation lower. Unfortunately, this is just a 3-swing move. And then you have a 3-swing move down here. So this is really tough because this could be a bigger 3 swings, which if it's correct in the entire move down, I wouldn't be surprised to see it play this out more, to see it actually play out, see another rise to like 729, 859, and then fail again later somewhere here. But I don't like this chart. I would avoid long positions in it. But speculation, you could have something like this happen and then fail and go to new all-time lows. But you'll have to do what's best for you. This is not I don't like this chart at all here. But if this low breaks at 172, then more than likely that low will break. It'll be a selling cascade. So it's just not something I would want to be in. There's too many other things. And then if you look here, you don't have 5 waves, you have 3 waves. So that also supports the view that we'll actually make another push lower, that we're actually impulsing down. And this, what I have here, won't happen. So this actually support right now. This is you could see that. You could see that. So it's more of a coin flip. I can't really forecast. It's just too difficult. But given where it's been, where it goes, I would say this is probably where it's heading, something like that. NEO is always interesting, right? Especially if Tesla bottomed, right? Tesla bottomed. Did NEO bottom with China as well? Odds are that's what we would say happened. And yeah, I mean, look at that price action. Now, what's interesting, looking at the data. Whoops. Uh-oh, what happened here? That's not good, right? That's not good. This is unfortunate. Again, if that's real price data, and it looks like it is, that's really unfortunate situation from if you're in Elliott waves to see that lower low there, because what that tells me is that 5th wave is going to extend potentially. And then this is just a 1-2. So this, I didn't see this. This must have I don't know when this happened. I guess I wasn't looking at it recently, but this is too bad, because in my mind, let's look at the RSIs one last time. Yeah, see, there's your 3. So, and then you just correct it. So unfortunately, there's 2 things happening here. Either the entire impulse is done, the whole thing, and we get a huge reaction off the low, a huge one, a massive bull market that goes on for quite a while. But then all that is a connector wave for this move in an ABC. It comes up to 7, 8, maybe even up here, and then it just fails much later. The other interpretation, which would probably be more accurate, is the 5th wave will extend, and then you get this kind of 1-2, something like that. Let's see how the RSI reset. So you're still in that impulse. So that, let's take a look. I just broke it yesterday. So that would negate that view here. So yeah, so you're at a bigger connector. So okay, so here's the forecast. Guys, if you're in this, don't be surprised a year from now or whatever that this low breaks. But for now, for a while, it's a bull cycle. So I would trade it bullish and let the market stop you out. I mean, so you trade against 362. I would trade against 362. Again, assuming this is real price data, and then you're in a 1-2-1-2 setup, 3 of 3 now. So something like this. All right. But this should continue higher. So yes, I think the correction's over in NEO. For the monthly cycle is, the monthly cycle is reset now. It's in a new bullish market, but because of this little funny business here, it's like it's not clean. It's not clean. And of course, I could have it labeled wrong, so keep that in mind. It could be labeled wrong, but I would say the low's in. The low's in. Low's in on NEO. LTCN, BTCH, let's take a look at those. So it hit our buy area, we came out. Note that I would say that's not really, there's a little bit of divergence there, so I would expect another move higher coming. So I do think we get another leg higher, and then we should continue to push higher. And then BCG, same thing. We got the buy. I still think we got another push higher coming. BCHG. That looks like an impulse down. Yeah, that looks like a 1-2. So I believe both of these have another swing higher, and then it's going to be like you're going to have to decide, do you think you're going to get this C leg, or was this the low and we just keep pumping? So I think that's going to be up to what Bitcoin does in the end, right? Is Bitcoin going to give us a wave 5, hit, you know, the high 70s, 80,000, pull back again, or is Bitcoin just going to start running? So that's why this was a buy, guys. That's why this was a buy here, because you just don't know. This other leg down may not happen. And of course, you know, the surprise would be if the connector's finished here, right? I changed some labeling around and put something like that in a WXY, and then just drop it, which would set us up for an incredible opportunity if that happens. So it's tough to say where these are going at the moment. But like I said, Litecoin and those guys, I look at Bitcoin, like I said, could see that flat play out. Want to see more upside. If we see that, crypto should continue higher. Litecoin is trading in a more bullish cycle here. It looks like 5 waves up, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we're in 2. So it looks like it should have some more downside. So, but against 70.84. So that low has to hold, right? That's a super important low for Litecoin. If it does hold, we're going to see some really good price action coming. Bitcoin Cash, we're looking for that wave 4 to finish. And it looks like to be it was some kind of flat here in an A, B, C. And the 4 is done here in a 1-2, 1-2. So Bitcoin Cash looks like it's about to hit it has a 1-2, 1-2 setup. So Bitcoin Cash could be about to run again. But that looks like 5. So it's tough to say. It's hard to label the smaller degree cycles, but against 439, it's bullish to finish this 5th wave. And again, if Bitcoin doesn't have a 5th wave, then this would just be a 1-2, and this will just, the next area of resistance is a lot higher. So we'll see how it goes. But this has to hold here at 430. This has to hold this area. All right, that's good. All right, we already got the XLV Tesla. Just again, I'll get to everyone's. Run and root, Joel. Thanks, Joel. Let's take a look at run and root. All right, let's take a look. Haven't heard of those before. Oh, Sunrun. Okay, we have that on our list. So somebody has asked for that before. Let's take a look at where things are with that. I think it's solar. It's been beat up, right? Yeah, this 5th wave. Right, we've been in this 5th wave, but it looks like that 5th wave ended here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Off the low, 3 off the low. So this has actually got a low risk, high reward setup against 944. Right, we could easily be ready to hit wave 3 in this sun run. I assume it's solar. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it isn't solar. Who knows? Nice divergence at the top for an impulse. Nice 3-wave move. Could label this in a lot of different ways. I would just say really needs to hold 931. There's your cycle reset on the daily. If that doesn't happen, then it's just going to keep extending lower. So yeah, you really need that low to hold. If that doesn't hold, then this 5th wave will just extend. And then you just had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what's going to happen. So it's really important if you believe in the bullish case that this low holds. And you come out of this. Okay, that's run, and then root. All right, not looks like we've done that a long time ago. Wow, what a pump on that. Let's see here. Let's see here. Okay. Looks like a 4-wave off of an impulse, right? Bigger picture. So we should see a 5th wave. Remember, think super micro. When you see this, think super micro, right? Chart. There's your connector right there. Dropped. No, see RSI, perfect. Capitulation, perfect. So we'll come up and fit. So more than likely we've already started wave 5. And we erased divergence actually. So I wonder if we will continue so that's the thing, wave 3 could continue. I mean, it doesn't have to stop. So we are in a 5th wave, but this could also become a 1-2 again, and we go even more parabolic. I mean, what does this thing do? Why is everyone so into it? What is going on here? Insurance company, mobile telematics technology, behavioral data. What's its market cap? No, small market cap. Wow. Where does it come from? 5. Yeah, so if I was trading this, I would say long against 48. Now, if this 48 breaks, then this was just a connector wave, a 3-wave connector wave, and then it's just going to go all the way back down, in my opinion. So for the bullish cycle to hold, we really need that this 49 to hold. Yeah, big earning revenue gain. Look at that. Reported 195 million, estimate 132 million. So it's like a big growth stock. So is this an emerging, billion-dollar company, right? Thanks for bringing this to our attention, the community's attention. I will take a deeper look at it. Because usually when you see bullish price action like that, like this, that there's something more fundamental going on that I also like to look into just to learn more about the company. Because there are times where we can catch like a Netflix or something, the early 2010, 2011. You just don't know. Sometimes the market gives you like an accidental gift. The private equity misses out on something. It goes public so early, and then us, regular Joes can get in on something. So we'll look at this and see what else is going on. But so far, if we can make this 5th wave, then it's in a bull market now. It's in a bull market. Be interesting to see how this plays out. Okay, Megan, I got to the Gdxj and PayPal already. Oh no, I didn't do. I got PayPal. So let's do Gdxj and Hood. Because Gdxj is a little different. We did the Gdx earlier, but not Gdxj. So let me do Gdxj. Gdxj. Okay, so I'm calling this a 2-wave. And if you saw my GDX update earlier, Newmont mining broke out, which indicates to me more than likely the 2-wave is in. Because you have a breakout in Newmont mining here. You see that? So more than likely the ETFs are just lagging behind a little bit. So that's how I look. That's how I see it. So if it doesn't, then there is a buy setup. There's a buy. Let's just say it isn't, right? There's a buy setup. If it breaks down, the buy setup as of right now would be 37.84, 36.72 here. So that's but I would, looking at how it's reacting, looks like it was just so bullish it got truncated, and it kind of makes sense because it was like a back test, right, of a previous high here, cycle high. It just couldn't get down to this area. People don't want to give it up. And guys, if you bet on my channel, we had the buys here. I mean, we called the low. It was like the biggest, lowest risk, highest reward setup you're ever going to get. I mean, so if you bought it here, like a lot of people know did, I did whatever happens here is irrelevant. You just need to hold your position. You just have to hold your position. That's what I would recommend. All right, we did the lab up. We got lab up done. Got lab up. Let's go to the next set of questions. Joe, again, I will get to all the super chats. Twillow, XPO. Let's go through some of these. Some of these are new tech that I don't normally cover. Let's take a look at Twillow. Here. Yeah, I don't think I've ever, we don't have a chart on Twillow. Almost looks like PayPal's chart or Shopify's chart, where essentially you have a three-wave move. So for you know, an W, X, Y, and a 3, there's your connector, and there's your 5 waves down, and now you're coming off of that here. So you need 5 off that low, and we need to really take a look and study it. And if you really look at this, it does not look like you have 5 off the low yet. So you have 3 here, 3, 3. So you don't even have, so you still only have 3 waves. I could, no, I wouldn't even label it that way. You did peak out here. So this is really ugly. It looks corrective in nature to me. It looks corrective in nature. You see this massive spike up. So this is, to me, a 3-wave move that's over a connector wave that ended. This ended the correction for this leg, and now we go lower. And I know if you're long it, you don't want to hear that, but to negate that view, we have to take out 78. So I do think it's bearish against 78. And you'll have to do what's best for you, although we only have 3 down here. See, so the market is super confused right now, and Twillow doesn't know because you only have 3 here. But if we break this low and get 5, then it's pretty obvious the trend is lower. If we can negate that view and come up, then we'll have to reassess the count. So this is a very hard count. I think I would probably lean more to the bearish side. I don't personally like trading that one. It's just too many other things to trade for me that a little clearer. XPO is doing really well. We had this buy, but again, just like we saw in the Gdxj, it was too bullish, right? We never got a good dip, right? And that's, some of these really bullish stocks do that. And so, but it did continue higher. We wanted to get long, and we saw this inverse hold and shoulders play out. That was massive, right? And so now what would you do? Well, it's probably good to get long again in this pullback, right? So now we need to kind of see bigger picture. Are we in a grand super cycle wave 5 or not? Like, should we be buying? Like, sometimes you shouldn't be buying the dip. So here, bigger picture. So you can see the peak RSI is here. You made a higher price. But you haven't taken out the peak. So we're still in wave 3 of the grand super cycle. So actually the best days have not come yet, even though it's been so awesome for this company. It's actually still got more upside to come in this 1-2-1-2 setup is how I would look at it for the time being. Something like that. So you could see you're resetting that cycle. So the weekly cycle is broken, it looks like. Here, you see that break? So it is in a wave 2. So it's correcting the cycle since October 22. So this has got, more than likely got some downside coming. I got some more downside coming as it retraces this move higher. And it looks like the first leg lower is probably finished, but I would bet you'll get another leg down later. You're going to get another leg down. So the way I would probably play this out is, and I'm not sure why TradingView didn't line things up here, but basically the way I would play this out here is buy the dips in 3 waves and then let the market stop you out until you find the low. So right here is your connector, okay? So if that's your connector, And now at 104.33, it hit it exact and bounced. So the low's in on the first leg lower, like I thought it was. So the first leg lower is done. So now the question is, could 2 be done here or not? Well, I showed you the weekly cycle. Chances are it's not done. The weekly cycle broke, so it's going to probably get pulled down lower, but it's going to take a while to play out. So more than likely you'll get some kind of bounce and another low later. That's how I label it, but you should be bouncing now. You should be bouncing. And if you could buy it here and try to play this X wave, and then you like get stopped out and try to maybe get lucky and got the 2 there. I mean, but more than likely it's got another dip coming somewhere. PSX. Philiip 66. So we call it this 3rd wave. We have the 4 wave. We need the 5th wave. I think we did this earlier. And look, it pretty much played out like we saw. Now look at this 4 wave. We made that lower low. Don't want to see that, but it happened. So more than likely, looking at that, let's look. Yeah, this 4 wave is correcting all of this. Yeah, it's correcting. So it needs to stay above this peak. So it's probably got more downside coming. More downside coming. So it actually still looks bearish because you broke that low. So if it's a shallow connector, there could be a buy here if it keeps going lower at 138, 133 for that wave 4 low right here. So that's how I'd look at that, and then you could get that 5th wave later, something like that. Okay, Uber. Let's take a look at Uber. That's another one that we really haven't done a lot of work on. I don't get asked about Uber a lot. Looks like that one played out too, just how we had it labeled before. We're in a 4. We need a 5 wave to finish the impulse. So this one, like the indices, is kind of like extended in this 4. Let's look at the RSI cycle here. So we actually reset the entire move off the lows. So the labeling, so actually this whole impulse is correcting here. So we probably just need to tweak the labeling a little bit like this. And that's why sometimes Elliott wave, labeling Elliott waves isn't perfect. Now I wouldn't put this 3 here. I would label this as another 1, 2. So that means there's more downside, which makes sense because it's extended. This was an extended leg. So this should bounce and fail. We should be hitting 57, somewhere there. So I'll be looking for like a bounce and failure. I'll be looking for a bounce and a failure. And then this would be the area to pick it up for nice gains in wave 3 of 3 of the grand super cycle in Uber. Oracle. This is the historical chart of Oracle, the dot-com pump, and it eventually came out of that. So here you see the wave 3 cluster, and we never have taken that out. So more than likely, we're still in wave 3 of the grand super cycle. These aren't 5s. These are other 1, 2s that are going to extend at some point. And again, yeah, there's your correction. This one looks pretty bullish. Wonder why Oracle's so bullish. I guess it's AI. Maybe it's benefiting in some way from AI. Now look at this. This lower low, I hit this formation. This is more than likely going to be a flat of some kind, and then out. Yeah, this will probably pull down. So I think we're going to get some kind of flat in this thing, down to 91.43, something like that, for a buy here. That's what I'd be looking for at Oracle, just looking at the way this is topped here. and then out in wave 3 of the grand supercycle. And eventually the RSIs will take out all these peaks. Eventually the RSI will come out and take these out, and that's going to extend. So that means AI is still in play, guys. I mean, I assume that's why it's pumping AI. But this looks like it's breaking down in a flat. You really only have 3 waves here. You had a reaction, but then a lower low. So this looks, to me, it looks like, you know, something like that, a flat, you know. But yeah, I'll probably put it there, 3 like that. Okay, last one, MDB, Mongo. I think we've done that one before. Okay, we were looking for this dip down to 278. Now, again, we have 5 swings down here, and then we come up. Looks like a flat that finished. So we had a flat. So the flat looks like it's finished here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're reacting higher off the flat. So that, to me, that's what this is representing. The other alternative, it becomes a bigger flat and does something like that. So the new buy area, again, I don't like to chase this stuff here, but if it does want to turn down, I'll buy it at 276.33 if it happens to go here in like a market accident, if it comes down here like that. So we'll just keep an eye on it. I don't like to chase it, but this is obviously going to go pretty. This has got some good upside, but this is I think the flat's probably already done. If not, it's just going to extend lower, which would be a great opportunity to buy it. Amazon, yeah, I'll take a look at Amazon from Big Cap Tech. Pulling back, we had this in the 4-wave. We expected this pullback and got it. So now we need to, well, where do we buy it, right? And this is giving you another nice buy opportunity here. So there's your connector, and then it came down and out. So this is so this is just kind of connector trading within each other. So 163 would have been the buy. We got to 166 there, but you didn't really erase divergence on either case. And you're really part of the same. Yeah, I'm going to look at this as a connector. This is a connector. So I think it's got another swing lower coming. Another swing lower. But I can't project a buy area given the way the chart looks. But it does look like we could have a little more upside, but I think that upside, I think it's going to fail. So I think it's got some chopping around to do. I'd be surprised if this was the low given the RSI, the look of the RSI and the way I'd just be surprised. But again, bigger picture, if you're looking at Amazon, we are finishing a 5th wave soon, and then we'll correct the entire move, which would be a much bigger pullback later. There's a chance that this could do that, and then I just tweaked the labeling and we're actually in 5 now. So just keep that in mind if you're in it. We don't have a cycle reset yet on Amazon on the weekly cycle, so it's still a 4. But I think it's something like that. But that's how I look at Amazon right now. Some more data about BTCM. It entered into crypto in March. Does that? I'll look at it one more time again. If it entered, it does it. That's where I would start my charting it. I would evaluate it from that point on. And so you said it was March 21. So March 21 is somewhere here, right? Where the heck is it? There. So there we go. So since it came into inception, it's essentially been straight down. So this is where I'm charting it from. So it still won't change what I have, because you really haven't found the floor. I mean, maybe that's the floor, but like I mentioned before, we really have to take this high out again, and then we need some like it's just not a clean looking chart. And if it's been so bearish, think about Bitcoin. Bitcoin's almost exceeded all-time highs. Look where this is traded. So this should tell you something about the stock. Okay, let's go into iSeeker, total 2, total 3, Bitcoin D. I think we haven't looked at the total market caps in a while. We have total 3. When we gave this chart, we were down here. Boy, did that play out nicely. Yeah. So now obviously we're in that wave 4, right? We're in that wave 4. Right, we're in this wave 4. We're in that wave 4. So like Bitcoin, that wave 4 is it should be done. Now we hopefully get that 5th wave. And then what's the other one? Total 2. When we get total 2. Total 2 is total excluding Bitcoin market cap. All right. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. 3 down. We held that low. Just like the other ones we were looking at, right? Something like this. Five, same thing. And that low, that looks like the low's in because of the 3-wave look. RSI reset. Perfect. So that's how I look at it. And just remember, it may not be a 5. It could become a 1, 2, 1, 2, and go parabolic. I always remind people that because a lot of Elliott wave people love to short a 5th wave and then end up short in a 3 of 3 and get blown up and they lose all their money in their account. That happens. That's why you've got to be careful with that stuff. Have other tools in your system. Okay, last super chat and I'm calling it a day. Mitso, Snap. Yeah, Snap pumped, right? I think we called that Snap pump, right? If I remember right, we said it was going to counter trend. This counter trend. I think we'll see if I don't remember exactly what we had. But somebody asked me about Snap. Hopefully we had it right. Hopefully we had it right. Let's take a look here. Yeah, we had the counter trend rally in X. So yeah, we had this counter trend. We had the short area between 14 and 13. So we hit that. So now it's really interesting, right? So we are in an X wave, but the X wave is going to go higher. Okay. But I do think we got another leg lower. So I think it is more upside and this is going to play out more. It's going to play out more, right? Well, we have to finish an impulse. Right? We have to finish this impulse. Something like that. But once that finishes, then it's going to be the jury's going to be out in the market if we'll get the Y leg or we'll actually break this high and negate the bearish structure, which would become 5 waves off the low. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll see. And then Palantir, I gave that buy, and I'm in Palantir on that buy as well, and it's been working out really nicely. It does seem to trade a lot with the semiconductor. Here we had the buy here, nice reaction, a deep wave 2, and then we essentially went vertical and broke the high. So we should be entering a 3 of 3 in this thing. This looks like a small little bull flag right here on the 45-minute, about to break out. So I'm hoping Palantir gives us some nice upside. And bigger picture, I think Palantir is in a 1, 2, 1, 2 off the low, 1, 2, 1, 2 off the low for a potential 3 of 3 breakout on an inverse head and shoulders that should get us to 44, 48, and maybe even the 50s. So really like Palantir. I like the buy here. And if the market is dumb enough to sell off, I mean, I'm going to load up on this thing. Like if it's going to drop, like if this is a connector and we drop to 15, just going to load up on it. So definitely you know, money management's key, but I do like it. I do like it. I think it's a mega cap stock in the making. I think it's a mega cap stock in the making. JD, you know, I mentioned JD was another buy, you know, for you guys in China. I didn't take the trade because I just can't buy them all. But we played that fifth wave, but it looks like it probably erased divergence. So again, that became a 1-2-1-2 setup, and we've had to buy here forever, guys. So I mean, JD's nothing new. Enter in 3 of 3, and this could have been a historic low for the company right here. Historic low, and that may be an investment opportunity. So that now, of course, 20 has to hold, or it's over, right? Then it's a wipeout. So, and SoFi and YNN. So YNN is still bullish, and again, we had this called again perfectly here. We had the 2 here, vertical. We're in wave 3. So there's really no reason to sell it. I mean, it's just going to keep pumping higher. There'll be pullbacks, but this is in 3 of 3, 3 of 3. And then the next one is SoFi. SoFi here. Stuck in this bearish count. So still looking at this bearish count. It just can't get unstuck from this thing. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out more, but I'm still bearish on it until we reverse things, get a higher high. If you're short though, I would be careful because 1 2 1 2 1 2. It is you know, I wouldn't short it, but I wouldn't want to buy it either, if that makes any sense. But do what's best for you. Okay, let's go look through everything and see if I got everyone's super chat, and then I'll read your notes, and if I miss something, I'll mention it here. Oh yeah, I'll just do TMF because some people are interested in that. But TMF, I'm still in it, right? Really, you know, ideally, this is your connector. So the ideal buy point on it is 41.84. I thought it wouldn't get there, but I am just aggressive. But ultimately, this is where you have to leave the trade at 38.35. So I think you got to just ladder in slowly, buy some positions, and then if this breaks, you just dump it and just get out. But I think that's how I look at it. But it should reverse at any moment, in my opinion. Do what's best for you. We did ING, did Tesla already. Intel, I think it's pulling back in a wave too, as long as it holds a low. Let's see how Meta. Where was Meta trading at here? Meta. Well, Meta was in like Amazon, right? Amazon could be at a wave 5, right? I said it's a 3-4, but it's easily, I can change some things around and put 5 there, right? So Meta was in the same thing. We had Meta almost at the sell area by $4. We missed it by $4, right? So we had the sell area, but we have it now in a 3-4. So Meta's in a wave 4, guys. Meta's in a wave 4, okay? Which means it's finding support. So we have a connector, and we dropped, and this was the buy at 438, 416. So I think that's it. I think Meta should grind higher from here and make another high somewhere in this area, this box. Let me get this drawn properly. There, and end the cycle. And then you'll see a real pullback. Like, that would be nothing. Like, that's how I would look at it. Now, that's what my chart for Meta looks like. And that would be the peak of the grand super cycle. Again, it would have a new peak. Okay? Because we took out, you see how we took out this diverge, like we took it out. So this is the wave 3 of the grand super cycle. Let's look at the weekly. See that wave 3 peak? It took it out. You took it out. So this is the grand super cycle wave 3, guys, in Meta. Okay? This is the grand super cycle wave 3, and we're correcting it now. We're correcting it. Okay, we're correcting it. We're correcting it. So now, so we should get a 5. We should get a 5, okay? And then when we get a 5, we're going to get a big pullback, another one. But it won't be, you know, it won't be like this. It'll be, you know, but it'll be pretty big. Probably drop us back down to like 380, 377. We'll probably retag this area right around here. So that's how meta looks. That's how meta looks. Let's see. I'm not concerned with the crash yet. I think that comes in. When is hard to say, but it comes later. Later, like a. Let's see, like. Let's just take a look at the cycles. And I mean, again, I can't forecast time that well because that's not what my system is doing. Let's do this here. There's my crash, by the way, guys. That looks like late 2025, 26, the fall of 25, the way we're trending. And again, we should get more parabolic as we blow off, so it should happen faster. But this is probably where all she wrote. This is probably it, guys. This is it. And then you get something like boom, boom, boom. And then that wave 4 is hit or taken just out slightly. And we erase this whole move. This whole thing is gone. That's what typically wave 5 happens to wave 5s. We see it out in stocks all the time, right? The wave 5 gets blown up. And that's probably what's going to happen here. Now, the only way this doesn't happen is if we erase divergence. And I've shown this before on the monthly. This divergence has to come out and take this peak out here. This peak, 86 on the monthly. You do that, there is going to be no crash. There's no crash. There's no crash. It's going to go, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. So that's why I want to be long this thing. I don't want to be short. I don't want to play games and be cute and go, oh, it's a B wave. I want to short it. It's a B wave. Look at me. I'm so smart. And I'm just going to get back in at a nice theoretical, you know, 4.8. That's not perfect. Like, I don't care about, I got the bigger prize in mind. The bigger cycle. The bigger cycle. The cycle, the monthly cycle and the quarterly cycle are telling me on the Dow here. Let's see here. This cycle is going to come up. This cycle is going to come up more. It's going to come up more. The quarterly cycle needs to end the grand super cycle. This line has to break on the quarterly chart. So you got a lot of months left. So I'm telling you that the higher cycles are not going to pull the market down in a crash. There's people are concerned about the weekly cycle, but I'm like, fuck the weekly cycle. I mean, I don't give a shit about the weekly cycle. Fuck it. Fuck the weekly cycle. Honestly, I'm trading the daily cycle. If the weekly cycle wants to reset, then you better believe we're coming up higher because it's going to shake out all the weekends. So to me, it's like, fuck the weekly cycle. I'm not going to short it here. And I'd rather be long. I'd rather be long and play this out. Play this out. Play this out. The first piece of evidence that goes against that is going to be the 10-year break-in 505 this peak. Okay, but even then, that would impulse up. It will still pull back, right? It will still pull back more than likely. It'll come up and pull back, and then we could get out on the pullback. But that would change things. I would say that would change my view if that happens. We have to really rethink things. What happens if this happens here? So the Fed better watch out because this shit could get out of hand real quick in a wave 3 of 3. Bond market panic. So maybe the bond market will crash, guys. I think the bond market could crash. I think the bond market could crash. We've never had an epic crash in our bond market, right? The equity markets crashed a lot of times over the years. 87, 1929. We know equity crashes. 2020. We know equity crashes. Bond market doesn't know a crash. It's been fucking gravy train for the bond market, right? The bond market has been, look at this, your grandpa, your boomers, your boomer parents. It's been a gravy train. Well, that gravy train may come to an end, and you may see a real bond market crash like we've never seen before in this wave 3 when this thing happens. So just so we do gotta have an intellectual stop loss here, and then we're gonna have to reforecast things. So you gotta keep an eye on this thing. You gotta keep an eye on this 10-year. If you're not watching it, you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful because you start breaking this, it's a beeline to 7. It's a beeline to 7. So, guys, anyway, is this live? Yes, it's live. It's live. Yeah, my live streams are always live. That's the whole point of it. But yeah, if you're watching from the internet, I'll give Netflix because you guys like to trade that one. You guys like to trade Netflix. So Netflix pulled back in a 1-2 here, and then a 3-4. So you kind of see this theme. Mega caps in wave 4, guys. Mega caps in wave 4. So yeah, we took out the peak barely. So it's a third wave. So we should get this 5th wave, and then we should get a bigger pullback. I don't know why that was highlighted, but anyway. Oh, by the way, we called this inverse head and shoulders breakout. We called that, right? And we even had the back test here. So, but now like Netflix, like this is a wave 5. Now, could it be another 1-2? It could be a 1-2. So you probably want to try to buy the dip if you can. Here you have your connector, and there's your reaction. So here's your line. So you got to hope 542's got to hold. If 542 doesn't break, you'll get a deeper pullback, and then you probably actually have a better buy opportunity if that were to happen. Right, 481. So I'm not saying this is going to happen. This could be finished here, right? This could be finished here, and I wouldn't be surprised if it is. However, if it breaks that, this is where it's going. It's going down here, and then maybe I would buy some here. I would buy some here. Okay, so is there an Elliott wave scenario that avoids a 3-wave correction? One super cycle 5. How high can 5 go? Yeah, the divergence has to be erased in the RSI that I showed you in the monthly, I think even the weekly time frame. That will negate it. So you got to watch how strong we come off of that, off of this correction. I think the next move, the next cycle higher when this correction ends that we're in right now, will define that for us. Oh, Hood, yeah, sure. If I missed the Hood, Robinhood, yeah. I got a lot of super chats today, guys. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate calling in. So Robinhood, I'm in this, of course. I've got it in a 1-2 setup for a big pump out of this mess. I do have a low here because we did end the cycle. So this is either a connector, and so if it's a connector, I have this as my like a watch area for me. So like as I trade it, I'm like, okay, I'm long Robinhood down here at $10, right? So I don't really care what happens here, but the pullback we got on this connector wasn't deep enough. It wasn't deep enough. So I do respect the fact that we could go deeper, another swing deeper. So I have this highlighted here just in case. And if we did make this push lower, I'm going to buy a lot more. Now here, I'm not, but the cycle is over. This cycle's over. It's 3 waves, and we had some pretty good RSI reset, right? The 4-hour good reset, healthy reset. So to me, and we hit the wave 4 cluster, which is what we wanted to see all along, right? So this is what I'm calling for. Now, if we break this high here, we could have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then pull back, and then out. Could be 3 of 3. It's tough to say, but the bearish scenario is this, but this should be supported. It should continue higher in Robinhood. Okay, that's all it is for today. The Japanese yen is weak, right? Remember, the market crashes usually on strong yen, right? Weak yen is money printed, right? That's the Japanese bank printing money, and if they're printing money, that money is making it into the system, the ecosystem, and it'll eventually slosh around the indices, and And that's what the weak yen's been doing, right? They're weakening their currency. They're weakening their currency with all their money printing. They mismanaging their currency. And I was watching this guy on Bloomberg, this lady on Bloomberg, and she said Japan has a historical track record going back to the dynasties. I guess they had currency back in they mismanaged currency. They just always fucked up their currencies. Like if you go back into history, they've always hyperinflated, fucked up their currency. So I think the thing with Japan, the central bank in Japan, is again, they think the market's like chess. They think they can outsmart the market and manage the hot and cold water in their shower and just get it just perfect. And they just keep overdoing it. And now I think they are losing control. I think they're losing control. Their currency's devalued. People are like, yeah, you know what? Screw this. So I think you got to watch actually the strong yen. They actually try something different to prop the yen up. But then that's just going to make countries, try to compete with them. I also heard the more the yen weakens, China's going to want to weaken their currency in competition. So who knows? Who knows? I don't know if any of that will happen. I don't care about that news and the currency because I don't trade on it. But it is interesting to think about. And yeah, it seems like the central bank in Japan's really, really messing their currency. It's really messing up their currency, guys. And it's just the way it goes. Oh, it looks like I got a last minute super chat. Mara and OCGN. Oh, looks like I missed it. Yeah, sorry, scroll down. I don't know. I didn't see it there, but good thing I saw it before I wrapped up here. Mara. Mara pumped like we said, right? We said it was in a counter trend rally. And it should continue higher. But I think this is a bull trap. But hey, it's great gains for trading. I think as a trader, you're going to make some money. But I do think this X wave will end. Now you have a connector. So I wouldn't be surprised to see another swing higher and then eventually fail. Or it just continues higher until Bitcoin reverses in its wave 5. So I don't know. But I think it's in some kind of counter trend rally, something like that. But this decline's over, right? This decline's over. So it could be done here. Like I said, my channel, we called the bottom here. It was obvious to see the turn of the cycle. So I would just be looking to stay long this thing. I guess even the short, if you really want to trade shorter time frame, you could get lucky here and get another swing down and go long. You can go long again. If it pulls back, you could get a drop to 1726 and could go long 1726 into this area, and then pull back and then pull up again. So it's like a lot of ways to trade Mara right now, a lot of ways to trade it, but you're trading against that low bullish cycle. And OCGN, I don't think I know that one off the top of my head. I don't know if we've ever charted OCGN. So that's a new one for us in our channel. We have a higher low, which is good, off the bottom. So we're just going to chart it off that low, off this low. And it looks like we've got 5 waves, so that's good with divergence. So it looks like it's bullish off the low. And then you had 3 swings turning up. But you didn't get down. So again, you risk a pump and a failure. Don't be surprised if it does something like that. It is turning up and you get something like that. I wouldn't be surprised, but it doesn't have to do that. But we should make at least one more swing higher. One more swing higher. Okay, guys, that's all I've got today. I got to run. Appreciate all the super chats. It's been great. And yeah, Fed meeting is going to really define whether we get a double correction and then we get the weekly cycle reset, or we surprise everyone and we don't, and the daily cycle's ended, and then we just go crazy high because everyone's offsides hoping for a B wave or a short